Hey guys, Rhett here. What's going on? Thanks for watching. Want to talk to you today about a trend that I have seen growing exponentially in the United States, and we're headed for something that really isn't good if you own this certain asset. Now, I don't want to say that virtually everything that I've predicted over the past year and a half on this channel is starting to come true. I don't want to say that. But over the past year and a half, virtually everything that I've said on this channel has come to fruition. Okay. Now, if you don't know what some of those things are, please go back and watch some of the videos, and you'll see that that's just kind of what has happened. So I want to talk to you about, and I would also like to add that I'm not happy about most of those things, but I just kind of look at trends, and that's what I see in this industry. So I want to talk today, guys, about short-term rental properties, specifically Airbnbs, what is going on with Airbnbs, what I think the immediate future looks like, and what I think the long-term future looks like. So I'm based here in Nashville. There are Airbnbs everywhere, okay? The places where I like to invest in kind of Airbnb luxury rental, high net worth individual rental units. The areas that I do that, so Nashville, the entire east coast of Florida, a little bit in Los Angeles, and all throughout New England. In some of these areas, Airbnb obviously is extremely, extremely popular. They see a ton of tourism on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and the easiness, the accessibility of Airbnb for tourists and for consumers is such that the demand is high, right? Usually speaking. Nashville, one of the biggest tourist spots in the entire United States. I'm about a mile away from Broadway as I make this video, Broadway being the main town, the main downtown strip where there's dozens and dozens of bars. So let's get back to the point of the video. People are spending money right now, and that's great. That is going to stop relatively soon. As soon as our economy catches up to things that are actually going on behind the scenes, and when inflation and our economy spending kind of meet, we're going to see things really bottom out and kind of crash a little bit. So it's extremely, extremely important to have your money in things that are safer. When I say safer, I mean Section 8 rental property that is going to be completely unaffected by anything that's going on here. Virtually, it's going to be the safest place to put your money. It is always the safest place to put your money. But when things go bad, that asset's going to become more valuable because nothing is going to be returning cash. So with Airbnbs, guys, the secret's out on Airbnbs. People know what they are. People are buying them. People have been buying them like crazy for the past couple of years. But what is happening is the supply of Airbnbs for the first time in maybe history is starting to outgrow the demand a little bit. And this is extremely, extremely problematic if you own Airbnbs. Because what's happening is not only is your competition fierce between other Airbnb owners, which I don't have to tell you guys, it is. But if the supply outgrows the demand, then we have a much greater issue. The value of your Airbnb is obviously going to decline. On top of this, with the forecast for the next 6 to 12 months, 6 to 18 months in our economy, the first thing that people are going to cut out when things start to get tight in their budgets is travel, okay? If people aren't traveling, the Airbnb market is not going to do very well. If people aren't traveling and people continue to buy Airbnbs, the supply of Airbnbs is going to go up. The demand is already not equal to supply, but if the demand drops even 10, 20%, it's going to be detrimental to these Airbnbs. Now, the thing about Airbnbs is they're extremely high risk, extremely high reward. When I say high risk, it's you're basing your entire revenue structure on travel and tourism, when that dries up, and things happen where that dries up, recessions dries up immediately, right? Pandemic, gone, virtually non-existent for 7.5 months, okay? So things happen and you go, oh, well, that never happens. Look back over the last 10 years. Those things have happened a couple times. You look back over the last 20 years and they've happened numerous times. You say, oh, global pandemic, that'll never happen again. No, it might not ever happen again. It might happen again, but we saw that the government can shut us down at any moment, right? Crazy things can happen, and you never know what's going to happen. You want to put your money where it's going to be safe. So the forecast for the immediate future doesn't look great. You want to put your money always in things that are safe. If you own Airbnbs, I'm not saying sell your Airbnbs, but you need to diversify. You need to get your money into something that's safer long term, that's safer short term than Airbnbs are, because they're not. When we talk about high risk investments, not only are Airbnbs based almost 100% on tourism and travel, which is an industry that always fluctuates over time if you look at it, but the actual investment is more high risk. Would you rather put $40,000, $30,000, $20,000 in cash into a Section 8 rental property that's bringing you a 15-20% return, or would you rather put your money into, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900,000 into an Airbnb that you're out of pocket now between $200,000 and $400,000, paying 9% interest, and have that be 100% predicated on something we can't control, being travel and tourism industries. So in one sense, I see something that your cash out of pocket is a lot cheaper, your money's guaranteed, and you're not reliant upon anything. And in the other investment bucket, I see a lot of money out of pocket, something you are 100% successful or not successful based on elements that are out of your control, being tourism, and something that is being filled with more and more supply and a stagnant demand. So when we look at Section 8, in your average market, you have somewhere between 10 and 15,000 people looking for Section 8 homes, okay? Some of the markets that I invest in and I have my clients invest in, usually we don't get into a market unless there's under 20,000 people that need affordable housing. In most cases, if those wait lists are upwards of 20,000, some of these markets only have 80, 90, 100 units available, which you probably don't even believe, but that's actually the truth. So you have virtually zero supply with exorbitant demand, extreme. It's kind of over extreme. It's absurd demand. And then in the other market, you have, in Airbnbs, you have a higher supply, a demand that is pretty constant. But the problem there is Airbnbs are expensive. So your consumer is spending a lot of money. And when your consumer spends a lot of money, it's just more risk because if something happens in your consumer's life or to the market that your consumer's in, it affects your consumer directly, which then goes down to you. It affects you directly, and then you're in trouble paying, interest on something that's very expensive when nobody's living in it or using it. So I'm not saying sell your Airbnbs. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. And depending on how much you're paying for your Airbnbs and if you can afford them, at some point, they will come back. Now, of course, governments are cracking down on Airbnbs in cities across the United States, and governments are trying to incentivize you more to get into Section 8 by bumping up rent prices. But that's, another story for another time. What I'm trying to say is, guys, you need to have something in Section 8. If you have Airbnbs, great. It's great to be diverse, but Section 8 is where, the chickens are always going to come home to roost, because that is always going to be your safe place regardless of what's going on in the economy, okay? I just want to get that through to you guys. I want to always show you trends. I don't want to be right on this stuff in 12 months from now or 18 months from now or shorter than that. If our economy hits the skids and nobody's traveling and Airbnbs are, ghost towns like they were in 2020 for a different reason, I don't want to be right about that, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing. So just be smart. If you have Airbnbs, guys, it's time to diversify. I have a lot of coaching clients that have tons and tons of Airbnbs, and we've built them considerable Section 8 portfolios to balance those out. So they always have a hedge against any kind of economic uncertainty. But as always, guys, leave your questions, comments below. I'll get to all of them, and we'll see you next time.